Greetings to all, this is Aridif, Z-R-I-D-I-F, and this is its spell. We understand many of you have queries for this day, but before diving in to those queries, there are two things that we wish to express in which all of you are quite aware. First, to know, to feel, and to perceive that you are loved is of the utmost importance in our perspective. Secondly, we wish to express to you it is our greatest excitement to co-create with you in this moment and in all new next moments. You may begin your queries at your leisure.
Thank you, Aridif, and thank you for being here with us today.
Yes, greetings, Kalina.
Greetings to you too.
We love you also, and you are loved.
Oh, everybody knows I love you too. So, where did we went around this way last time or this way?
I think this way last time.
Which way?
I think we started here last
Yeah, I
time.
think so, because I remember with my dad.
That's good.
You ready to go over? I like your jacket, by the way.
Thank you.
Isn't that a pretty color, guys?
It's also really cheap. It's very comfortable.
That's always nice.
Aridif.
Greetings.
Can't think of a question. Wow.
It can be statements too.
Yeah. So this morning, Brian and Konika did their wonderful channeling, and they told me that I have a connection to a Sasquatch spirit who doesn't want to tell me anything about him, and I'm not gonna probe on that. But I wanted to know if there's any other like guides or spirits that are trying to reach out to me, and I'm having that want to connect with me, and I'm trying to connect with them, but I just haven't done it consciously yet.
Yes, of course, there are multiple entities that are always working with your energy, inwards, outwards of your experience, some for just moments and others for days, weeks, months, and years. And these entities come in and out of your experience, dictated by your own vibrational frequency, but also your own desires, experiences, and co-creative abilities. The entity that has most recently and most strongly tried to connect your own energy is an entity who most of the humans in this room would perceive as an ascended master, a human who has lived throughout all of the incarnation cycles within the Earth Collective and is no longer physically inhabiting body. This entity has strived for the expression of its own consciousness into the fifth density and has achieved the majority of this outside of the physical body. So, this entity identifies itself in multiple periods of your time's incarnation. The reason why this entity is interested in your own energy is that it is within your oversoul and also has incarnated with your previous incarnations. Both of you share an experience, which is where this entity's identity for this moment would come from. Because your energy and his incarnated in that same lifetime, which is most relevant, his identity is perceived as an entity that would live within the mountainous regions of the Tibet area. This would be an entity who was a Buddhist monk in the time period that you would call approximately 1640. Both of your incarnations were very simple. You worked with your spiritual context. Both of you strived to understand and open your own soul and consciousness as widely as possible in your experience. And now this entity is playing through linear time, seeing his dear and old friend trying to work in the same concept of opening their own chakras and opening their own psychic networking. This entity is working with you energetically, not psychically within your dreams, not interactively in your own experiential, perhaps experiential experience, for lack of better terms. When you are walking around, this entity does not show itself to you. It does not come and wave at you and you cannot see it. But when it is next to your chakra system, it works from a non-physical perspective, trying to work exclusively within your third eye and crown chakras. The rest of the chakras are, of course, within your guidance system, multiple guides and also your spirit guides. But this entity is an external manifestation of co-creation for your benefit and for the excitement of this entity.
Thank you.
Yes. Greetings.
Can I please ask Treb to come in, please?
Yes, one moment.
Hi, Treb.
Good evening, sweetheart.
Good evening, Treb.
Yes, it is very exciting to be here as well.
Though you're listening to me, I know, but then also I want to say thank you for helping me finding myself.
Yes, it is not our energy that helps you. It is you that finds your love in our energy and in your own energy. And that love is only the same love that you have for yourself. That has been more difficult to find as you grow from childhood to adult and then into the role of mother. And once you achieved feeling that great connection for your children, it opened your heart to a different level than before. And that gave you the opportunity to find a way to feel more love. And then once you came into the host, in my experience, it gave you even more love. And that love was always there. It was just difficult for you to find. So this is very exciting for us.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you as well.
Do you, if, I know everybody has to, is that possible, I can talk, I'll be short, I promise, to my higher self, Rita. Is she available?
Yes, one moment. Hello.
are you?
I am perfect today.
Thank you so much for coming.
I am very proud to have the chance to talk to you this way.
I felt something opened up in me. I felt something I released, and I don't know why. Guide me, tell me, and tell me how far I am. And I really don't know what to ask. You just tell me you know what I'm asking.
I do. The release you found was from your high heart chakra between your heart and throat. There was an energy that was holding back, opening fully, and that was released. You have done so much work on your heart because of your exchanging love and the feeling of energy from love from a group of people and a group of love pointed towards you helped you receive that love and open, and you felt my love, and you felt Treb's love, and Rob's love, and Kalina's love, and everyone here, and that love helped break through. But the problem before with that not working was you didn't always allow that love to come in. You respected the fact that others loved you. You appreciated the fact that others loved you, but you couldn't always feel the actual energy of love that they gave you. And now you're feeling it more and more. And it was enough to break through that barrier. You're doing perfectly, dear, perfectly, as you continue to grow out your capacity for love. It will keep showing your own self more of the energy in yourself.
Thank you so much.
There's no need to thank me. I am here because I love to be here, and you're here because you love to be here. So we don't need to thank each other. We just need to accept the love from each other. And I accept your love, and I know that you accept mine because it's the same love.
I'll give other people a chance to talk to Treb.
Goodbye, but only verbally.
I know I feel it, I'm expanding in you.
Growing is growing into not just me or not just your whole soul, but eventually into all the parts of the love that you've gotten, and that's from all the energy that you receive. You're growing into me, and then we will grow into others, and others will grow into more. It is fun that way.
Wow. Hugs. I asked for that. Oh, thank you, Treb. I asked for this thing.
Yes, it is very exciting as well.
Okay, Treb. I'll talk to you.
Yes, as we always speak.
Hi Treb, I did have a question for Aridif, but I would just like to take this opportunity to say I love you very much. I know I don't express as much as some people, but I do feel like that people don't know how much really. So,
Yes, and the love that is there is easy to feel and easy to see, and the words that you have for the English version of love is not nearly as appropriate as the energy expresses itself from your heart to mine, and I love you as well.
thank you.
Yes, one moment please. We are back without hesitation or delay.
Hello Aridif, love to you too, my friends.
Yes, greetings to you. You are loved, and we also love you.
I just wanted to see where I am, because as you know, my highest excitement is communicating and co-creating with beings of love and light, and with channeling and astral projection and all sorts of stuff. So I just want to go through something that happened to me and see if you can give me some insight on this.
Yes, of course.
I've got this written down, so I've got to read it. On the weekend, I usually wake up at the same time. Let me go jump to ahead. When I'm not at work, I sort of, when my alarm goes off, obviously I get a little bit of time to have a bit of extra sleep. But when I go to sleep more than I normally sleep, my guides will nudge me in my arm. Sometimes they will nudge me so much that it will actually make me jump. And then also when I'm meditating, if I'm almost falling asleep, they will nudge me as well. It's almost as if they don't want me to go to sleep. Even in the daytime, if I want to have a nap, they nudge me and stop me going to sleep. And also a few times I've come out of, I've just been waking up in the morning and I've had like a sound come out of my throat and my mouth wasn't moving. And but one morning, like I sort of turned my alarm back off, went back to sleep, and this time I heard, like I was half asleep and I heard something say hi, like my throat sort of said hi. Oh, no, it didn't say hi, it said hey. It said hey. So can you give me some insight on this, or where I am and stuff, and if I'm doing stuff right? And
Yes, first of all, you are always doing everything correctly. That's why you do it. That is why you experience it in the way that you do. But we understand the context behind the question. First of all, the entities that are nudging you are not truly nudging you. What is occurring is during those moments you have opened up your consciousness enough and you have dropped down your mental guard deeply enough where those entities are starting to co-create with you in a more physical way. The expression of your open throat chakra, open third eye energy is quite more than enough for these entities to come into it, communicate. As they are trying to do this, as it is your excitement and their excitement, part of the reason why they are co-creating with you, that experience is felt quite physically by yourself. That gives you a startled energy. Your physical body is built with a great deal of mechanisms that protect you from danger. Being prodded in a near sleep state is one of them. You will jump, you will react, just as when you are trying to sleep and you feel as if you are starting to fall, you will instantly be awoken. It is the very similar reflex to this concept. So when this occurs and you are jumping up or jumping out of your half-asleep state, remind yourself that it is okay. It is part of the process of these entities working more deeply with your energy. What we suggest, open your own energy towards a Yahyel style of vibration. These entities have been working to try to come into your vocal arrangements and trying to communicate in that certain way. When you are expressing the word hey, those entities work the Yahyel vibration. Those entities, as you are well aware, have an attachment, a vibration towards your own energy. The hybrid children energy from the Yahyel society also gives you even deeper connection to those entities. So continue to work with all vibrations of the Yahyel that you are able to perceive. That will help allow a co-creation of the flow stronger within your energy. The reason why the verbalization has not come through in 100% ways yet is there are still parts of your subconscious that believe you are not able to do this. You feel and you know deeply that you are able to channel, but your experiences in subtotal show you that you have not yet. So your subconscious and even parts of your conscious mind say that now I am going from my past 5 years, and in that time I have tried to work in channel state, I have tried to work with energy, and it has not come to fruition. So I must continue to try. But just by expressing that concept, that I have worked on it and not succeeded, gives you a bit of resistance. That resistance being gone will open up the capacity for your ability to verbally channel in over 40% increasement. Going through that experience of just knowing that your now moment is where that channeling will occur, not in yesterday's moment, not in tomorrow's moment, but in that now moment, it will also help you bring forward that energy. There is nothing truly wrong that you are doing. As you are going through your experience, you are following your excitement to the greatest capacity that you are able to do. You are not thinking great negative thoughts. You are working hard to keep your energy in the most neutral standpoint. So in that way, you are doing everything correctly. Work through the 10-step processes on how to release looking in your past as frequently as you do, or thinking too deeply in the future. Try to work through the 10 steps with what your belief systems are about your not channeling yet. Work also through the 10-step process to allow yourself to be more in the now moment. These things will help you very deeply.
I do tell myself I am channeling in a way to try and sort of neutralise that a bit. I tell myself I am, because I'm channeling my personality, I am channeling, so I think that would help it. So that's what I've been doing.
Yes, of course, this is what has given that extra bump of energy in the last few months of your time. That is why the experiences tend to increase. Your affirmation and positive thought mindset places you in the vibration of a channeler. And that is why you are experiencing the channeling style of energy. Most entities who practice to be a channeler, who do not just in their own mind fall into channeling, are those who experience an increasing energy and vibration experience. That is where your energy is now.
Thank you very much, Aridif. I'll look out for you in my dreams, my friend. Thanks.
Yes,
Thank
of
you.
course.
Hi, Erica.
Greetings.
I wonder if you could help me. Is there a future probable self that I could connect with at this time to help me in my efforts to expand?
Yes, there are multiple versions of future versions of yourself. Some of those entities are well within your future. Others are possibilities and probabilities of this incarnation. Now, for those possibilities and probabilities, we are not able to connect with him so that they are verbally able to share with you, because they are not having consciousness focused in on those energies in this moment. Your consciousness is focused upon this experience, and that is why all of the probable realities are still playing out, but just without nearly as much interaction of consciousness with. So, to explore the future version of yourself and have our own energy, bring them forward to connect with you verbally, it must be an incarnation that is further in the future. If that is what excites you, we will connect them. If not, we will bring forward the information brought from your probable future of this incarnation.
I would say the first one you said.
Yes, of course, one moment. Hello.
Hello.
I'm very pleased with your work.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I am going to share some things with you that are important for you to hear to help you and get through the next 2.4 and 2.7 years. Is that okay?
Sure.
You are a very big energy for other humans sometimes. And when you try to interact with them, they don't always know how to take you. You feel that a lot when they don't know how to take you or interact with you. Your vibration is large and people can feel it from a distance. Help yourself with those beings sometimes. They're resistant to open communications with you or experiences with you. So to help you with that, you can let your energy taper off a little bit, and that energy is a visualization technique that I can teach you if you want to know it.
Sure, I would love that.
Okay, so you are in your energy and you have multiple fields of vibration, just like the star sun. That is one that has bands of different electricity and magnetic energy. So you can look at the sun and see all of the different bands of electricity dispersed, and that's just how your energy is. So visualize your magnetic field and look at where the bursts occur. A lot of the time the bursts occur either in the throat chakra or the third chakra, or sometimes the second chakra. That's where the solar flares of your soul often shoot out. And when you become very excited, then sometimes your heart and throat connect and it becomes larger. So be aware of those parts of your magnetic field that are shooting out at others. When you're aware of that, then all you have to do is visualize that energy dispersing more quickly and not being directed at one direction. It is hard to explain how this works, but when the energy of the band breaks, then it goes to one direction and is pointed directly at the person you're communicating with. But when you visualize it, allow it to break like this and go everywhere instead of directly. Because when you're speaking to another being, all your energy is focused on that being. So when you get mad, sometimes your third chakra will explode towards them directly, but now you can visualize yourself when you feel angry and let it disperse everywhere immediately. So everywhere in the front half, from 180 degrees from this way to that way and in front of you. That's where you point the energy, and it's not concentrated. Visualize this and practice it when you start feeling bad, or practice it when you feel good enough to not need that energy, and it will help you, because the overwhelming sensations others can feel when they interact with you is only issues of their own self-worth. They see you in your own energy, and when you're happy, it can even bother people because they're not happy with themselves. And it's not your fault, and you should not try to please others, but the communication lines will help you as you go forward in the next 2+ or 0.4 to 0.6 years. Remember that when you go into experiences with other beings who are in communication for any reason that's not spiritual, that you can still work with that energy of vibration, where you are sharing knowledge to them in unseen or unexperienced ways. That will help you a lot. The energy of expressing to them who you are and what you are is helpful in a vibrational field, because even if they're not intuitive or psychic, they will receive it. The other thing to share is that I am pleased with your growth, and your growth is amazing to me. I'm pleased with the work you've done, and I want to continue watching and aiding that energy. You've felt my presence before, but it's not been a direct knowing of who I was. So now that you felt my energy, putting a name with it is important. It's Delilah, and if you can accept my presence with you, then I would like to try to work with your energy as you work with other beings' energies and talk to them and share energies with them. And I would like to be part of your guides and your systems of guides.
You are welcome to come in. Could you repeat your name, your sound again, so that I can remember it?
It's almost exactly like your flower, Delilah, but it's Delilah.
Delilah.
Yes, and that will be an energy that's easy. And that is a representation name, because there's really not a name. But I know that if me and another being that looked like me stood in front of you, you would have to call me something.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I look forward to further.
You're
Gotcha.
welcome, and thank you for allowing me to continuously admire and be a part of your work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are back without hesitation or delay.
Thank you.
Yes.
I apologize that my phone, it's new, so I didn't know it was still on vibrate. I think I fixed it. I had to go get some vitamin C because I'm feeling a little under the weather today, guys. I'm so sorry about that.
Hello.
Greetings.
Good to see you. Thank you so much.
Yes.
In the morning when I wake up, and I'm coming back settling into the body, there's an energy running. I've worked very hard in discerning different energies and cutting ties and breaking, but it appears to be a great negativity. And I find myself focusing on things that I don't want to focus on. And using the Metatron techniques, I'm able to bring it back and shift it, but it doesn't feel like it's my energy. Either that or it's my energy and I'm really not a very nice person. So I'm trying to, can you help me identify that and help me what I can do to address this?
Yes, of course. When you are looking at this energy, it is a part of your own energy, but it is not a part of your lower fractal consciousness. There is a part of you that you have transmuted within your physical experience that was what most humans call the dark side of themselves, that part of any human that is willing to step on the free will of others, even murder another if need be. That part of you was separated, segregated, but that part of you still lies within your higher fractalized consciousness. It does not play a part of a negative being there. When it stays in the higher fractalized consciousness, it is a manifestation of the entire collective of the higher fractal consciousness. But when it comes back down to your lower fractal to co-create with you, it is experienced as a negative being. The reason why this energy continues to come into your experience and into your co-creation, especially when you are working from the place of sleep state or deep energetic work, that vibration comes to you because your own belief systems, your own mind, and your own concentration about separating yourself from the dark parts of yourself. Within all humans, it is very normal to not want to connect to that part of themselves that is a vibrational frequency pattern of the negative aspects of human consciousness in your mind. So that energy is quite normal. To release that energy is to accept that there is a part of all of your energies that is capable of creating negative experiences, that is capable of being angry, lashing out, or even the worst atrocities that your mind could create an experience for. In your physical incarnation, it is still possible to murder another being, even though your vibration does not fit that energy, even though the probability of it is so low that you could be hit by lightning 4 times before that occurs. This energy is still a part of every human collective consciousness, and to accept that energy, that it is a part of your co-created and collective consciousness, will help ease that energy. Now we understand, in your own mind you are saying, I already know that is part of the human collective, I have already accepted it, I do not wish to be a part of it, but I have accepted it. But when your own energy looks upon your own self, you have removed that part of yourself, so it feels very foreign to you. What we suggest that you can do to help lighten up that energy is explore something within your own life that is at that very close line of not being able to do. Let us say, for instance, to scream at the top of your lungs as someone drives by too quickly. If that is not acceptable to you, then try doing it once, even though you do not have to yell at another person. You can do it in your own mind, in your own under the breath concept. Just explore close enough to that line where you are still comfortable, and it will show you, just because you've given in that one moment to a part of your own energy that does not feel comfortable, does not mean you will switch back or revert to old behaviors. That you will not switch back or revert to the darker parts of your own consciousness. And by knowing this, it will help alleviate that part of your energy. When that part comes into your own chakra system and you feel that negative energy, it also will and can attract many other entities that are vibrationally negative. This is why that small energy at first can creep into being very large energies and very unnice or not nice energies. The negative beings that are higher dimensional within your Earth collective consciousness see all of you in this room as entities that have high sources of energy. That means that they can connect to your energy when you are distraught or feeling negative, and then they are able to feed their own selves that negativity, and it gives them satisfaction. So in order to disconnect from any entity who would tread in upon your own energy that feels negative, you must experience the closest vibration to that to show yourself, or at least visualize it in your own mind to show you that you are still capable of acting in a vibration that was similar to your oldest self, and remove it from your thought. That fear of reverting is more any fear that can create an expression of more of the compounded versions of the old energy. And that is what you are feeling, the feedback of the belief in the vibration itself.
Thank you.
Yes,
And George and I are fine. I understand.
yes, and we understand also that you understand, and you are loved, and so is George.
I love you.
Yes, and I love you also.
Hi, Aridif.
Greetings.
Could you just tell me who's here for me?
Yes,
Is there anyone wants to interact or tell me anything or work with me?
yes, of course, there are many entities that are available too, as you are aware. We will choose one that comes forward in the most direct fashion. Do you wish the most direct connection to this entity?
Yes.
One moment.
Hello.
No.
What are you doing now? What are you feeling now?
I'm watching Rob's face and trying to decide which one you are and pick up on your energy.
You're curious, you're exploring. So am I, and that's what brings me to you today. There's so many things that fascinate us about Earth. The energies of negativity, positivity. It's interesting. What would you say is the most fun part about Earth?
That we have free will to do what we want to do.
You do, and this is also an amazing fact. What brings you to me? You think I came to you, but you came to me. Why?
Because I want to explore other entities, other beings that are not part of our everyday life that we see visually. I feel things come and go, and I don't know who or what they are unless someone else can help me with that at this point in time. And I'm wanting to connect and learn about other beings, their lives, how they want to interact, share information.
I can respect that because this is also what we do.
Who are you?
The acquaintance to be made, yes. Vibration, animal, reptilian, that's what you call reptilian, hybrid beings. Two different reptilian races created our race not long ago, only 9,430 of your years before. Have you heard before accessing your name, Theta Terrenian?
No, I was told that the second or third generation of the Zeta Reticuli from Wesson took me at one point.
No, this is different. Theta Tauridian, Theta Taurus, Theta Tauri is a race of reptilian beings. They are part of the genetic lineage that I have. And the other race is the Scrumti. And these both are very type 2 beings. They're not nice from your view. But I'm here because I'm trying to be that nice as I can. I've started learning a bit about respect for another's experience. It's a funny concept that I never had thought to think about, but Earth is a place to learn about that. Many humans don't care about another human, but some do, and the ones who do are interesting. And that brings me more happiness than anything is to solve a puzzle that piques my interest.
And what density are you?
17th. Your 5th. That is different division. You
have-
call it 5, I call it 17, but it's the same thing.
Mhm. And are you interacting with me on a daily or periodic basis? Or are you just observing me now?
I'm observing, and I've seen you for over 3 months of your time. I didn't want to come have a chat until you were ready for it. You called me, and I felt the call, so now I've observed. You're open for communication to reptilians. That's very different for humans. Most humans can't or won't do that.
It
So
seems like I've had a number of experiences that have helped me to get past some of the fear.
Yeah, I suppose so. So I wanted to meet you and share with you and talk to you for a minute before I continued my relationship with you. I felt that because of your calling and my answering meant that it was meant to be.
How did I call you?
Curiosity, vibration calls. When you think about an energy that you don't know, it comes to you. When you say, I wonder what it is to connect with reptilian hybrids, they come to you. Some are in the vibration you are, some aren't, and the ones that aren't most likely bounce away fast. But I'm close enough to an average human to feel the vibration and long enough in curiosity to stay around.
Is there anything you want to ask us?
I know most of the things because I watch closely enough. I learn quickly. I see how things work. And your personal feelings I don't go into, but I can tell just by the energy that comes out of your areas. When you're walking and you're happy, I can feel that. I don't need to look so deeply. You wear it out on your sleeve. That's the term, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you for this co-creation. Is there anything I need to know going forward?
You need to know a lot of things, but you're human, so you'll learn it soon. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
We are back without hesitation all delay. Yet again, this is Aridif.
Aridif, when we talked about 3 months ago, and we got into the reptilian conversation, where that group came in and I felt their energy really, really strongly. And we discussed me not being in fear, but I told you the other things that were coming through, and you said not to go into fear, that they would trigger and so forth. How did I create this interaction?
Yes, when you are co-creating your energy of releasing fear, when you are feeling the co-creation, this entity comes through. This entity is what you would perceive as an observer of conscious constructs, and as it sees an entity who is working through fear and excitement of reptilian energy, it piques the interest of this entity quite deeply. That's why it comes to your experience. There can be a level of co-creation that is quite valuable from this entity. If you wish to experience and co-create with this entity, it can give you an understanding of releasing the greatest and most subconscious fears of reptilian energy.
But that will be traumatic for me.
Only as traumatic as you can desire or that you can allow. It will only be as traumatic as the experience. This entity is not what you would perceive as a very harmful being. It is not one that will negatively impact your experience, otherwise we would not have brought it forward. But it will give you different versions of reptilian energy, one that is playful and mischievous, but also one that is very wise and very giving of information and energy.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes.
Hello.
Greetings.
I'm so excited for this co-creation. And
Yes, we feel that excitement.
whoever is most interested or excited to answer my query, I'm happy for, so grateful for the exchange. You've given me so much information this weekend, and I'm so excited with all of it. I'd like more information on like the energies that came through last night in our healing circle. I feel like they are a part of me, and I some people ask, well, what is that? And I believe it's part of my experience when I was indigenous in my creations, as well as a combination of the beings that I interacted with during those experiences. And I feel like they're high frequencies, and that they also bring about remembrances in the people that hear them. So I'd just like to know more information about those frequencies, and I've always been told to teach that which I know, and I've always been hesitant because I feel like I'm interested in so many things. I'm kind of a jack of all trades, master of none, but I really feel I understand energy more than anything else, and I've got so much more to learn. But I'm wondering, what is the probability of me having a successful, like maybe a sound, energetic, remembering and awakening studio in the area in which I live, and would that be proper? Thank you.
Yes, of course. And first of all, we are excited about this concept, so we will be the ones to co-create it with you. As you go forward in your vibration, you already have almost all of the knowledge of what is happening with you. You feel the indigenous version of energy, but you also feel the higher dimensional energies. That is because you are going through a spectrum of a co-created collective consciousness. Entities that you once perceived as Native Americans, these entities worked with entities that were in higher dimensional energies. You are co-creating with a group of those physical beings who are no longer in bodies that were Native American beings, and you are working from an area of higher dimensional entities that still inhabit their own physical bodies. That co-created collective consciousness is a vibrational spectrum that creates as a collective consciousness with you through your sound, energy, and healing. But you already knew that to a degree. You already felt the presence of both higher dimensional and indigenous energies. Trusting yourself as you go forward is what we always suggest. In your case, as you feel the energy, and you feel, could it be this? The probability of it being yes is over 93%. But when you feel that you no longer need to ask the question, is this that? Then it will be at 100% probability of success rate. So, looking at all of the energies as you go forward, what we suggest that if your excitement is there about opening up the remembrance, sound, and healing vibrations, it could be of great use to you. It can be of great use to many other beings as you co-create with them. Now, we need to understand what your definition of successful is before we can dive further if this will be a successful venture.
Two things. One, actually helping others maybe remember who they are, and to understand energy, and two, financially, because I think that's one of my personal blocks, having the belief that I can truly take care of myself. And maybe that's also a trusting the universe, and I believe I trust the universe, yet I understand in my energetic field there are fears that I don't, because I'm a manifester, but that's one thing, I don't always manifest the abundance. And then there's a thought that's because I don't focus, and I'm interested in so many things, I'm kind of like a hummingbird or a dog chasing a ball. So if you see anything in my energy field that can give me clarity or calmness.
Yes, first of all, going from one thing to the next, there is absolutely nothing that is incorrect, wrong, or vibrationally unfit about this concept. Most humans are pegged or labeled with ADD or ADHD, but what they are is excited. And this is a very proper energy. That is why you are able to manifest in such a high degree. But the financial energy is something that is a bit different with your field. Most of it is created through fears vibrationally taught to you as you are growing up as a child. As that energy becomes implemented into your adult life, then it becomes reinforced over and over again. That vibration of abundance is difficult. So, that belief system, we would suggest greatly for you to look into the 10-step belief system process and work on financial abundance and the fears triggering that. But when you work from that place in the higher chakras, it is difficult to ground out certain energies. Your excitements and higher chakras being expressive is what has led you to be able to manifest very deeply. But with financial abundance, money, or the energy of that version of abundance, is a very earthly concept. This means you must ground yourself deeply when approaching or dealing with it. What we suggest is utilizing that technique of grounding, something very similar to what Rob has shared before entering into co-creations with us. By doing this, you will allow yourself an opportunity to bring in a bit more healing to that energy, plus also the 10-step processes, as we've expressed previously. That energy of your success being defined in those two terms can be high in probability if you heal that financial energy and the disconnection from feeling the abundance version. If you look at your energy in this moment, you still have a 61% probability of it being successful by your defined terms of successful. But grounding in that financial energy and your own energy to ground itself in dealing with finances will lift that 61% probability to in the mid or high 80 percentile.
Thank you so much.
Yes, of course. We wish to also ask approximately what's the time that has elapsed from where we were to what we are now.
Well, I can tell you the time we have
It's
left, because I have a timer of
It's
this was
been-
31 minutes.
Yes,
Under an hour. It's been just under an hour. Started at 3:18.
yes.
Yeah, as soon as he came in, that's when I started the timer, so mine says 31 minutes and 28 seconds.
Yes. At your leisure.
Hello, Aridif.
Greetings.
Thank you so much
Yes,
for all the help you've given me and the help you're going to give me today.
of course.
Um,
It is a great pleasure to co-create with you each and every time.
I would like some insight into an event which happened 3 months ago. But first of all, I want to say that for the past year and a half especially, I've been working on trying to integrate more of my higher self and to be more, open my heart more. But for that last year and a half, as I've been feeling great, it seems like my husband has been spiraling downward. He's had 2 knees replaced, and he's had depression, and he's had, some anxiety, and he's really, really not very happy at this point. But about 3 months ago, I was driving home. I was with my 13-year-old grandson, and we arrived home. I said hello to my husband, and I said something else which he greatly misinterpreted, and he launched into such vile vitriol headed in my direction with horrible words, and it was incredibly nasty. One amazing thing about it was, for me, was that I was surprised by it because it's unusual, but I was completely neutral. In fact, I was better than neutral. I had a lightness of being while the whole thing happened. I felt light, and I observed, and the only thing that was the tiniest bit was I was peripherally aware that my 13-year-old grandson was hearing, his grandfather say all these horrible things to his grandmother. So my question is, I think that my part, I was just integrating more of my higher self to be in that completely beautiful state while that was happening, which I never could have done before, because the conversation I had with Treb yesterday, I was that little mouse. I was very shy. I was scared. I was scared of people that were loud, or the people that swore, that swearing was bad. I have come so far from being that person that I had to laugh later thinking, I could just die now and this life would have been a great life, because I think I did really well there. And it was funny, except that I'm so excited about this life, I'm not going to end it anytime soon. But was there, did I integrate more about my higher self? Were there other beings present with my husband who triggered this? And then my grandson got to see for the very first time in his life someone not react to external stimuli, which was seemingly really horrible. Because he told me later, Grandma, if I had my knife, I would have stabbed Grandpa. That's my question.
Yes, first of all, congratulations for your expressive expansion within your higher fractal conscious integration to the lower fractal consciousness. You are aware, both innately and consciously, that your expansion does take place in this incarnation. In that moment was a reflection of how much of the integrated process you have received and that you have worked upon. So in that way we congratulate you for this. Secondly, we wish to express that as you are going through that state, your energy was in the neutral place and in an understanding place, although there was the small part of your grandson at the visibility with this concept. For the most part, your energy stayed calm, because this was not about you. This energy and lashing out had nothing to do with your energy. This was a representation to teach your grandson, and also to show you a bit more about the depths of your husband's own energy, pain and suffering. This energy is not taken personally because you understand the reason why the depression, anger, and even the vile energy thrown toward you occurred is because of your husband's physical body starting to break down upon him, or at least perceivably breaking down upon him. So he perceives that he is now aging, and at that aging point, the body is becoming less dependable. And many of you can understand this concept, that the older you get and the bodies start reacting negatively, the less conscious you are about being able to be happy or tapping into the happiness energy. So that energy is affecting him. This co-creation showed both of you that energy, your grandson, yourself, about how displeased your husband is. With your grandson, this was a triggering mechanism, not because it is a triggering to all humans, even though that is true. It was an experience for him to see the mortal of what a person can do when violence, anger, negativity is thrown at them, and they are able not to react in a sheepish, scared, or angry way. It gave him the opportunity to see someone respond in grace through that situation. So you are teaching your grandson both vibrationally and through example of how to allow yourself to release resistance. It did trigger him, but your response to the energy after him expressing how angry it made him, how frustrating it was for him, when you verbalize your own response to him, that communication that took place for approximately 4 to 7 minutes changed a part of your grandson for the better, releasing resistance, perceiving a different construct. So all of this co-creation, your grounding was enough to allow you to be that example, but also to your husband, seeing that that energy is projected towards you and you do not react negatively, shows him more about his own self, about how negative his mindset has allowed him to be because of his body. And this is something that he will continue to explore until he releases the feelings of guilt or the feelings, and we are trying to find the specific emotion, bitterness for aging. But this is part of your physical experience. You can age, and although some do age without breaking down of the body, the majority, the body does degrade bit by bit because it is a degradative physical structure that you carry. Although that will change as humanity goes forward, it is part of your reality now. You cannot affect the energy of how your husband perceives himself or how he perceives his experience. But you did vibrationally teach both of them in that moment, and you also reinforced to your own self how greatly you've grown, and we thank you for this.
Thank you, Aridif.
Yes.
Hi, Aridif.
Greetings.
Can I speak with Treb?
Yes, one moment.
Hi, Treb.
Yes, it is very exciting to hear.
I want to say that I love you very much, and since I've connected with you, I've connected with a really deep part of myself that I really resonate with deep in my heart, and I thank you for that, reminding me of that.
Yes, and I love you very much, and I also feel your energy, and that reflects energy for me. So we are both growing, loving, and feeling happy together.
I have a question for you. I have had a recurring dream, and I was wondering if you could explain it. Maybe I keep dreaming that a large moth is flying into my neck, and since I've been here in Asheville, that same spot on my neck just keeps vibrating, and I would like to know more about that.
Yes! When you look at the moth energies and when you look at the winged animals from the Earth Collective, what you are perceiving is a sense of freedom, a sense of flying, a sense of being able to not be restricted to just one perspective or view. When you are in the air, depending on your elevation, you are able to look at many different things at many different angles. So this energy is mixing the wicked animal with the very specific entity that you call moth. And that moth energy is a very unique energy, symbolically, as you experience that. The symbologies of the moth itself is one that creates havoc and creates the negative energies of eating sweaters. But this is not what the symbology is about. What does a moth do each and every evening? Whenever you are opening your front door, it goes directly for the light. And this energy and the flying is a symbol about your experience, and why it goes into the neck region is because you're trying to work with your throat chakra. You are trying to open your communication abilities. You are trying to share your wisdom with others, but it has been a difficult energy for you in certain moments. So as you continue to feel excitement, and as you continue to go into areas such as this vibrational plane that you call Asheville, and that other entities that are very friendly and feel the same way that you do about many things, such as all of the entities in this room, the more that you do things of that nature, the more that you will be able to open the vibration even more. You're vibrating the throat chakra more and more because you are excited and because this is your greatest desire. So continue going into the things that excite you, continue working with those who excite you also, and continue trying to work in forming your verbal form of excitement and learning the energies of things that excite you, and this will help the throat chakra energy as well.
Thank you, Treb.
Yes, and thank you as well.
Can I shake your hand?
Yes!
I'm going to give you a hug if that's okay.
Yes!
We can have a line hug later though, right?
Here.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask Aridif.
Yes, and I love you as well.
Before they come back, before Rob comes back.
Thank you.
Yes, it is very exciting to see you this evening.
Thank you. I was just wondering if I had any messages from my guides that they would like to tell me.
Yes, all of your guides love you very much. We will connect you as we are sort of being humorous, but not being humorous, as they do all love you. But that joke, we will connect you to one energy so that it may be a more direct sense of communicating and a more connected version of that energy that creates with you. One moment, please.
Even drinks cute.
Greetings. It is a pleasure to be here and speak with you. I am El Nana, and it is ELINANA for the spelling of that. It is important for the energies to be shared in a way that you can understand, believe, and use in your life. What is the most important area that your thoughts tell you are the most important things in your life to work on now?
My strengths. I feel like my fears have taken over more than my strengths.
The fear energy is very strong for human collective energies, and what bypasses fear is only the energy of knowing, and the energies of love and fear are the only two energies that exist on earth. What is love? Love is an energy that brings things together, that attractive force. Fear is the lack of that attractive force. The fear and love energies are responsible for all other energies in your life. So fear is not feeling loved. The love energy from yourself or society or other beings around you. So let's focus on fear. Removing fear is so important. And I'm going to share something that you can use every day to remove fear from your life. Think of one thing right now that you're afraid of that you can share with others that is appropriate to share for you.
My daughter getting hurt.
Your daughter getting hurt. So what is the worst part of that experience? Your daughter could be hurt, injured, or killed. That is the maximum amount of possibility of negativity. That's scary, and that's built in your DNA and built into your feminine energy to be a person who looks over the children, who takes care of the children, and who love the children and nurture the children energy. So that part you will never be able to escape. So at one level you will have a certain level of that fear until you can accept the larger reality as 100% truth with no varying away from the truth. The truth is, if your daughter gets hurt, what is the worst that could happen? Death. And what is death? Death is removing your soul from your body and shifting it to another. That's not that bad, but it is bad for you and the people who have to experience that death. So again, until that truth is felt wholly, it will still remain a fear. Right now, you know that souls are longer than just one body, so it gives you less fear. So work on that scale, putting more and more weight on the eternal soul feeling. And if you picture it as a measuring scale,
Down.
yes, and if you place it on that type of scale, and the weight here will drop this and the weight there, fear for your daughter's safety is there. Now, each time you've learned about life, it goes this way. So practice more about this. My daughter creates her own experiences because it's important for her to learn. It's also important that she creates because she is creator being. Even if she were to be hurt very badly, I would still love and take care of her. And you see the weight shift. Visualize where each one is on the scale. And don't be afraid to ask for help of others. Tell me how I can lessen this. Help me put more weight on the love side of the scale instead of the fear side of the scale. And the more you visualize this and even break it down in writing, the more that it will feel better and the less your fear will be there. So that's important for you to share and feel inside of you. And when you shift out of fear, it will help. So my appreciation for you knowing that your love is strong enough to cut out that feeling of fear will be perfect.
Thank you. Can you tell me more about yourself?
What do you want to know about myself?
Where you are from? Well, how you are in my existence?
Yes, I am from a place that you don't know. If you look in your sky, I believe it is between Taurus and Orion area, a field between there and very far away. You could not see my star without a telescope, but the reason I'm here is because we are all here. All of our race looks at Earth and studies Earth and connects with Earth beings all the time. Our race is a humanoid race, and we are very tall compared to the humans that you see around you. We are 7.9 to 8.9 feet in average, and we are dark skin colored, that is a dark purple color. And when we visited Earth last time, we did not get a very good reaction from humans, so we keep our distance now.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And I will continue to be with you as long as you allow me to.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, I love you.
We are back without hesitation all today.
Aridif, I just want to let you know we have just under 9 minutes left. 3 more questions. I don't know if you'll be able to take them all. But
Yes, it is possible that we will not be able to take them all, but we will work quickly to try. We also will be coming back in from this evening, so wherever we need to remain or take off again from, we may do so.
That'll be good then. Hi,
Greetings.
great to speak to you again.
Yes, as always, it is a great excitement.
No offense to Kalina, but I would like to channel a version of myself far into the future.
Yes, of course.
And I think I have glimpses of somebody, but I don't know if you have anybody that pops right up that I can meet.
Yes, there is an entity that you perceive that is from the high fifth instinct, such as Treb Bor Yit NE. This entity comes from the star system that you call Orion, or the constellation called Orion. This energy comes from the central belt star within the Orion constellation. We believe you would call this star Mirnik, but we are not positive that that is the one star. This energy is an entity that is humanoid and works from the highest version of understanding and creating versions of wisdom. It works from understanding the emotional spectrum of all beings. It knows how to work from each spectrum. It knows the perspective and perception of other beings. And it works from there very deeply to try to connect to all entities through an emotional phase. This entity is within the alignment of your oversoul, and this entity is accessible to you. That energy of knocking at the door, that has been felt from this entity before. There are many entities who work with your own energy, and that you have the capacity to channel. But in that version of your future version, in the far future of yourself, this entity comes at first the easiest connection to create with this entity, but secondly a version of co-creation that we believe would excite you greatly.
Fantastic. Do you have a name for this entity that I can
Yes, this-
think of energetically?
Yes, this entity goes by literally thousands of different names. The entity, when connecting with you, will give the energy that is most appropriate for your personal energy. Going through Rob's physical body, there are 3 different names that come through, but for you there will be one name that is most specifically oriented towards yourself. For instance, the name that this entity brings forward when approaching Rob's own energy is Onateka, and when it is connecting to Kalina, it is Arstunda, and when it connects to the entity you call Granville, it is Amanaman. So it is different energy vibrations because this energy and entity is a communicative being. It communicates with the personal spectral vibration so independently from one entity to the next.
I see. Fantastic.
Yes, of course.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Hello.
Greetings.
So, I picked up an energy in this room. It's an insectoid being, an ant of the ant race. Does he have a message for this group that he wants to share?
Yes, one moment we will connect. Hello everyone. It is wonderful to be able to share and be able to be felt, and thank you for feeling and perceiving and caring about me wanting to share with you. Our races have worked together for thousands of years. I do not want that to ever stop, but human beings are hitting a critical point in their communication. They are starting to go into a higher communication mode. Some of the beings you communicate with will be physical, such as our own selves, but other races will only telepathically communicate. Right now, you're stuck in the telepathic communication mode. I want to create a physical energy with humans so that more physical interactions can come forward. To do this is going to be difficult because of the fear many humans have of insectoid beings. Looking at your artistic history, you can find many replicants of our own energy, many interpretations artistically of what we look like. So try to find those and become at peace with that energy. Remember that the insectoids that were committing negative acts against you have been gone for many millennia. That no being that existed as a negative insectoid being in the Orion Wars exists physically in this universe now. We are not them, just as you are not the entities that some of you were in the Orion Wars who also committed great crimes against other races. If you can accept us, those people who are already open to love and already open to acceptance, then we have a fighting chance to physically create with you guys. Please look at those pictures. Let the DNA work itself out and let that fear go out of you instead of through you, and this can create a pocket of experiences we could physically create with any of you in this room once you get past the DNA part. So we will work continuously with all of you and all of your permissions, and we move forward in our creation with each and every one of you, or each of you who singularly wants to connect with our energies. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you briefly speak in your own language?
There are no vocal energies that are close enough to create that sound.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for feeling me, friend.
Thank you.
Well, back without hesitation or delay again, this is Aridif.
That was amazing, man. That's you feel very positive, man.
Greetings, Aridif.
Greetings.
Well, I want to touch on something that I've been thinking about for a long time, and felt like it was just
You
too
guys, my
personal.
dad is asking a question.
Too personal to get into. One of my greatest excitements all my life has to do with the theme of flying, of being free. Ever since I was a small child, I was involved in airplanes and helicopters, and of course flying in real life. I have, I think, some memories and associations to, flying saucers and craft. And one of the things that has been an obsession my whole life has helped me maintain my sanity is TV programs called Star Trek and that sort of thing. And I'm just curious about, how all these things blend together between being a healer and an aviator in this life, and an interest in different cultures and architecture of different cultures and things, but and how all that comes together with the aviation, the flying, the just being free, not feeling trapped. What is this past that generates this kind of association?
Yes, first of all, you are already aware about your Arcturian energies, your disbursement of multiple physical realities into the Earth, co-creating collective consciousness from your Arcturian physical body. That energy is aware, that sense of freedom, sense of flight, and high interest in first observing those machines in humanity and Earth that fly. Secondly, starting to integrate your physical body as the fractal energy you call Granville into learning how to fly helicopters and airplanes. And after you physically started flying, after learning, that energy only expanded more and more. But the reason that feels so at home for you is the Arcturian energy. Your co-created efforts as an Arcturian being, not as the human being that you are now, was to go around the entire galactic collective consciousness, to work within your own vibrational frequency of sharing, your wisdom, your sound vibration, your technology with other beings. The architecture is similar. As an Arcturian, you are going from star system to star system, from planet to planet, seeing all of the different possibilities, probabilities, and expressions of both architecture and also technology. So going and seeing all of the different versions of spacecrafts that were available to other races as an Arcturian piqued your own internal interest for those things. That was your greatest excitement as an Arcturian. That energy is bleeding through in your fractal consciousness now. To continue to go through your experience and not feel as empty, utilizing those tools such as the Star Trek television show or such as Star Wars versions, movies, is an appropriate tool in our own perspective. Many humans believe that they are wasting time by watching television, or they could be doing something different, but in this specific interaction, we suggest highly in allowing yourself that time and energy. We also wish to express to you that we are highly aware of multiple versions of your own excitements that have not been acted upon because of the versions of reality that you feel are limiting you. For instance, your writing experiences, your flying experiences, all of those things, there are perceived limitations around them. But you are well aware that when you have that great excitement and you just dive in that moment, that all of those blockages to those excitements will be stripped away from you. That energy and vibration will make your own internal sense of missing home or feeling not at place melt away as quickly as that version of life being one of a delusion of sorts after leaving your physical body. So it is the same construct. Put it into your excitement regardless of what perceived limitations there are in the co-creation, and you will find yourself in more alignment with that happiness and being able to bring back certain memories and information from your Arcturian incarnation.
Thank you so much.
Yes, of course.
I appreciate it deeply.
Yes, of course. You are loved, and all of you are loved.
I love you too.
You are loved.
We love you.
Yes, you are loved, and we also love you. We wish to express that we will disconnect for this moment, but we will reconnect within this evening.
Thank you.
We bid you adieu.
Thank you all for your support here on Patreon. We will keep this type of unseen content coming your way. We love you guys with all our heart, Rob and Kalina. Come see our website, etwhisperer.com.
What a pleasure to join you. What a pleasure to experience us. And for you to experience yourself from a different perspective. We enjoy the fact that we see our linear past and that you have a glimpse into your linear future. Probabilities set aside just for the moment. We understand setting them aside permanently is not an option, but for the intents and purposes of this day, we set them aside to reconvene with our family and for our family to reconvene with us. What a gift we are given to be able to share with one another the views, perspectives, and energy. Some of you are not familiar with our energy. Now there are thousands who speak as one. Throughout the interaction, it is possible for the thousands to increase to millions, or the thousands to bring forward one independent view. As a collective, we shift through energies. And each moment shifting through that energy gives us the opportunity to make the right conversation, to make the perfect interaction, to be able to study ourselves in past and yourselves in future independently and simultaneously by those who are excited most by the topic at hand. The first topic that we as the Nihal want to share with you is why the alignment has co-created a reconvening. We are sure that Rob has shared with you some details about the disappearance of our voice, the leaving of our energy. It's funny to us because we see in his mind, he created a scenario that said, I just haven't had time. I just haven't had the opportunity to call upon the Nihal. But we have said the time wasn't created because the energy wasn't correct. The energy was not conducive for a conversation because the parallel past the 3% variable on both sides of probabilities was then outstretched and gone beyond. The question in some of your minds, is this an independent variable for Rob, or is it an independent variable for the collective? It is both. It is one or the other, and it is the same. Reconvening today assures us of one thing. It assures us that all of you who are in this room, all of you who speak and interact, all of you who listen, are within the 3% probability on both sides of the spectral analysis. That each and every one of you are within 3% of becoming a being who exists on a planet in the star of Beta Leporis. The Nihal race and human race share a great deal of lineage, of DNA, of energy, and all of you are the lineage that we carry. As excited as we are to speak and to babble on, we understand there are questions. We understand that the inquiries in your mind and hearts are very important for you. We take whatever question comes to us with the understanding that in your heart, in your mind, and in a combination of the two, you desire to understand both yourself and both the future versions of you more deeply. And we express a love that is without words of description for this exchange. Each and every one of you are teaching us as we teach you. We are thankful for that. Please share your energy and share your love, share your heart, and we will do the same in return.
Thank you, Nihal Collective. We are very happy that you're here today, and I'm really excited to talk to you all.
We are very happy.
As you know, we are going through some really great changes, which you may recall, and I was wondering if you could share some of the experiences as you were going into the fifth dimension, as we call it, or fourth density, and beyond. Maybe you could share with us what that was like for you, and some wisdom you can impart to us with these changes, anything that would be good for us to be aware of. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you also for the brilliant insight to see that our linear past can show you things about your future if you desire. We put aside those probabilities and share this. The continuation of your path equals a great expansion, a great understanding of the universe itself. But first, working the kinks out is important. Our future did not come into concretion without stumbles, without problems, without issues arising. For instance, all of you are aware of what war is. From the time in our past that you're in, to the time of us leaving the planet and going to our own home, there were still wars. There was still problems with governments. There were problems with individuals. There was problems with greed. And it did continue for a short time. The short time in your history is going to be about 200 years where you have to deal with one thing or another on smaller scales each year. Now you're going through wars of terrorism, financial wars, and each year that gets better. In 20 years, you will look back and say, life is so much greater than it was 20 years before. In another 100 years, it won't even be recognizable as a similarity. When you reach the time where you leave planet, you will be leaving behind something more beautiful than any can imagine here. All that we knew before we were you, all that we knew before we started our awakening process was pain and suffering. Pain still exists, but the way to perceive that pain changed. The way to perceive what the wars were, the way to perceive what the financial struggles were, was only teaching us about how we created. Each and every one of you have noticed something in the collective that was directly related to you. Now imagine the entire world filled with people who know that they're creating something. Within a 300-year time span, continuing in the same path you are now, everyone will be twice as heightened as the awareness of the greatest aware person in this room. In 20 years, the percentage of people who start becoming aware of themselves will be exponentially much larger. Seeing the experiences that you have in the next 3 years will show you how the entire collective will start to change in dealing with financial systems, in dealing with governments being crooked and people being greedy. Right now, you're already starting to see the beginning. Now, the problem with many humans that came before the version of us, the problem that they faced was believing that things had to be horrible before they ever got better. There's still a great deal of that in your collective now. People who say, I cannot have an equal exchange. I cannot have a dependable financial system that makes all equal in abundance until something breaks, until something crumbles. So what does that leave you with? It leaves you with the result of a crumbling financial system and desperation in millions of people before anything becomes better. That millions of people spreads out to billions. Soon after, the entire world would feel the effect. Learning to rein that in before it becomes widespread was something that we were able to do. In your linear future, and although we shared we would stay away from probabilities, we must invite this concept in. That when you are connecting to that energy in itself, thinking that things must be worse before better, to catch the spreading of that in your heart and in your mind. That is the independent factor that changes a little bit of pain to disasters. We were able to do that. We were able to change that. And you are in the same alignment as us. That means you can change that. Making people aware is the most important part. making people understand that they do not have to feel pain before they feel independence is the most important part. And that is why we share our own story, to help you all make the decision to create yourself, not let others create for you.
Thank you very much.
You are very welcome.
I think his pants got destroyed in the dresser and I noticed the hole. So I just wanted to respect Rob's privacy. So thank you. Sorry about that. That's why I was like, you guys are like, what is she doing?
The modesty of people will also change in your future as you become us. Nudity, sexuality, all things will be expanded and widened very much, and we know that this can be a fun fact for you.
A
fun fact.
Thank you for sharing that.
You are welcome, and you may ask the question when your heart is ready for the answer.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to ask this question. I fell out of bed this morning on a hardwood floor, and I think I probably injured an area in my ribs. And it's kind of funny because, I just got in recovery from prostate cancer, and all the laboratory work supports recovery by far. But yet, there are things happening which sort of mimic that there might still be some problem. And it's like the universe is playing with me. And Alice went through a similar thing where she had a lot of symptoms indicating a possible cancer situation, and I knew it was okay. It turned out that she was okay after medical exploration of her situation. So I think I know the answer, but I'm curious about why the universe plays around with us and gives us symptoms that feel like we could be, in a serious state.
Yes, and appreciation of that question comes. You expressed by your own words that you feel the universe plays with you in that sort, and without a pun being intended, you are also playing with yourself. When you are feeling the energy of a symptom, that tells you something. That tells you that there is possibility of something that is wrong within you. You yourself have focused on your health for many years. Your focus of your health was always an independent variable in your life. You saw that many things were external sources. Your own health was both internal and external, and that going through that experience, the only way to treat the illnesses was to gain access to a higher state of consciousness, and also to tune your physical body so that it reacted well to the internal injury or energy and the energy of the food produced outward. So there are all these combinations that reminded you of the importance of your health, both mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and in all of those veins of energy, what was made aware to you? What was made aware to you is that your life was important. That despite all of the things you've experienced, your desire to experience more is there. That comes difficult to many people in your stage. When you are in the stage of life where you are going through and have had opportunities to experience a great deal, there is always the question, should I go forward? Should I continue living in this life when I've seen horrible and positive things behind me? And those scares are there sometimes to remind you that you still have the choice. That vibrationally and with your mind you create that magic inside you that either keeps you healthy or keeps you ill. So both of you have experienced that with an energy that all humans in this state carry. Fear, anxiety, and worry, that creates illness. Those symptoms remind you that you carry a great deal of pain inside of you, and that every time you let go of that pain, you are reminded that your health will increase. So it is there to show you both of those things. You can be healthy by letting go, or you can be ill by holding on. And this is what both of you have been shown recently.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You are welcome.
I think it was the same question.
Really? Wow.
So, I think it's been answered. So.
Like flames going on here.
Yeah.
Hi, Nihal Collective.
Hello.
I have a question about my friends. And once I have a very, very close friends, like I think when we talk, our minds just crashing each other. It's just so excited. But last year when I moved out from the same city, moved out the city she lived in, and I think she started to want me to push her away, but I didn't. So she stopped talking to me. So at that time I was questioning myself, am I being a good friend? But during the past year, some of my friends, some I haven't never met before, and some we lost contact for a while, but they start to come close to me, like they're seeking my support and my comfort and my advice. So I think that's very interesting. I just want to ask, am I still being a good person and having a positive relationship with my friends, even when they are leaving me?
Do you love the friend that you no longer communicate with?
Of course.
Then your relationship with that person is pure. That love that you have for that person, you're committed to try to work with them despite their not wanting to work with you, shows that you love. But there is also a fine line between allowing a person their own experience and also trying to help them. When you continue telling that person that they are loved, that you love them, that your energy is meant from goodness, that is acceptable. You can love them. It is good to love. But if it becomes so hard in your mind or heart that separation has occurred, that you push on that person and say, you have to accept me, you're not allowed to push me away, you cannot create space between us, then you are crossing a different line. Then you are taking a bit of that free will away. There is a way to love them from a distance. There is a way to love them without pushing yourself on them. By simply stating to them that they are loved, and whenever their decision to communicate with you occurs, that you will be there waiting in love and waiting with an open heart. That will tell them that it is their move next. When a human feels that they have no option left, they become desperate. When desperation occurs, there can be only a few outcomes. The two most common outcomes is pushing back at you harder or retreating for good. Neither of those are productive to the relationship with that person. So by telling them that they are loved, you understand that they have not had time or desire to communicate, and telling them that when they're ready, they may reach for you and you will be there, that is the best way to go in our minds, because we've seen the effects of all other attempts to try to get others to see our ways. When we cared for someone and loved them so much that we felt they needed to understand where we were coming from, all we did was push them. And when you push that too hard, then there becomes injury, not just to that person, but the dynamic relationship between.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You are welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
My question is, I came out of school last year. I have been in school for many, many years and a very long time. So at school, I used to have a lot of flexibility in time. I can, you take classes and you can do whatever you want, and you do research, whatever. So I have a lot of flexibility when I was in school. So came out of school, I started working, and what I do is, the type of work is good. I like it, and sometimes can be interesting, sometimes can be repetitive and boring, and I feel a lot of stress sometimes, not a lot, but sometimes it could be stressful for me when I feel like I lost this flexibility in time, because you have to work probably 9 to 5. And another reason causing me sometimes to be a little stressful is that the closest person I work with is also my friend. Sometimes he has a lot of responsibility on his shoulder and he is in a great stress. So this stress also affected me. So I'm wondering if you can give me some advice for people just got start working, and how can you reduce this stress at work?
Of course, there is an option that we can share that will seem perhaps not valid or valuable to you, but we will share it nonetheless. If you remove yourself from that work altogether, or any part of that work that stresses you, you will benefit. Now, we understand the system that you're in. We understand how when we lived in our past, there was do this or do not have abundance, do this or not have financial means, do this in the job that you do like and that you don't like, but anything that you don't enjoy, anything that stress has caused will not be helpful to you. First, see what your favorite thing to do is, and then find a way to do it on your own time. Find a way to do it when you're excited. That is the bigger picture. The smaller picture of how to get through that experience. First, you are a giving person. Your heart is open, you care for others. When a friend is affected, it hurts you. That is rational and it is understandable. But you have to also be respectful of that person's experience. Just as we shared in our last conversation, when you become intrusive on another's energy, it does not benefit either you or them. So by saying, I need to let my friend experience this, and I cannot allow it to affect me, that is a way to help remove part of the stress. Now, how can you do this when you have such an open heart? You have to retrack your thinking. You have to reroute the process of your mind. Repeating a concept and intent several times over gives you an opportunity to retrack and retrain your brain. When you say, I can let my friend have a bad day without affecting me. I can let my friend have a bad day without affecting me. I can let my friend have a bad day without affecting me. Although it seems asinine, although it seems somewhat stupid, it will help you retrain the brain. It will help you retrain your reaction. The majority of the time when you're stressed, it has nothing to do with insight or energy in the moment. It is a reactive measure that's caused by your previous experiences. Removing reaction and creating interaction is how you'll be able to
steady that flow of energy that's interrupting you. When you feel a negative experience at the workplace that's not related to your friend, then try to focus on what part of the job that you're doing is fun. What is the one part in your experience that gives you the most frustration? Think about what that is. When you think about that and have an answer, then try to take yourself into a new energy. Try to take yourself into a calm, centered place and say, what about this can I find that's fun? And try to pull the best out of it. This is the only way that it will help you work through that if you are not able to step away from that job altogether. And we say not able to, not because it is impossible, but because your feelings and beliefs might not allow you to just step away from it completely. Those feelings and beliefs are important.
Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you too. You all have reminded us a great deal about things that can be lost, new things that come into our awareness as a collective are very centered in the now awareness. But when you remind us of the now by explaining the past, it shows us a great deal. And we want to thank you for that. We are ready for the next question.
Okay, it's very nice to speak with you. This is a bit abstract, and I'm sometimes not sure I even word the questions correctly. But here's in thinking about probable realities as an entity within the Earth Collective, is there a boundary per se that keeps our realities within a percentage of the collective as a whole?
We understand the abstract nature of the question, but that response is negative. That is not correct, because the collective that binds you is the collective you have created. So when you're experiencing probabilities, those are your personal probabilities. The fundamental difference in creating your own reality and co-creating your own reality is only the ones who you allow to co-create with you are the ones you created that experience for in the first place. So even in co-creation, your power has more power than anyone else. In fact, you are more connected to the part of your central universe than anyone else. In that way, you're the master of your universe. In that way, you are your own God. Every person who sits next to you in this room is the version of that person you have created with. And from their perspective, you are also. That is the conundrum. That is the part to wrap your brain around strongly. It's hard to imagine that every single person sitting in here has decided to co-create with a bunch of other people who have decided to do the same exact thing, but yet that's what it is. And the version of that person is quite understandably looking at you in the same way. So feel that creation power in yourself and know that even if you take yourself to a probability that is so far removed from what you understand as reality now, there will be versions of entities with you in that probability, and the percentage cannot be swayed. Regardless of how you see it, it can't be moved. That part is up to you and yourself. That is, we think that Aridif explains it as the twin soul. That is the job and function, not to restrict probabilities, but to allow them. We hope that that helps you.
It's almost incomprehensible at my point of understanding.
But yet you were able to extract such a pointed and beautiful question. So it is not truly out of the grasp. It is truly a bit difficult to firmly grasp, but you are grasping it well enough to have it in hand.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for this time. I'm wondering if you can see my future self and tell me what I look like. If I cast out maybe a year or two, my level of happiness, joy, security, prosperity, happiness, but most importantly, even my chakras, my ascension, progress. I was wondering if you could take a picture and see into my future self.
We can, and we will. We take several pictures because just in the moment you stepped into that circle and energy, there's change. First of all, the change in your own energy is the change of wondering, of thought. Will I make it to the next few years in happiness or joy, or will it be sadness involved? And then there's a part of you that reaches beyond that. The part of you that reaches so far beyond and says, am I able to create anything that has a happiness on it if what I'm working on now doesn't come to fruition? So all of those energies are different, and all of those energies are changing. So we will snap that picture now. 2 years removed from now, there is a very split possibility here. There are two main possibilities. One is that you will be struggling to find your place in that energy. Right now, that is a lower possibility. The higher possibility is that you will have achieved finding your own fixed connection to being able to be stable financially, energetically, emotionally. All of those things will fall in line. Your chakra system in your third chakra will be much clearer. Your throat chakra will be even more clear. Your third eye and crown will have the ability to access all of the things that you've already accessed, but at a higher degree. Your root chakra will finally feel planted, will finally feel open. But in between here and now, there are two different possibilities because there's two different ways to take your energy forward. The one where you feel very similar to how it is now, even more resistance in the root chakra. That possibility only comes from your energy as it says, I must worry, I must be concerned about, I must not act until I know I am ready. That resistance in just the action alone is what keeps you in that path. But just stepping forward, just taking that very first step allows you to see the possibility with a brighter results. Something that I will assure you is that either of those paths will eventually lead to a better version of yourself, a more ascended version of yourself. And that will be a version of you that you will be happy and proud of. But the version of you that is more connected, that is more deeply embraced by you right now in 2 years, will be the version of you that's not afraid to step when you need to step, that will not resist when the opportunity comes, that will say, despite all of the consequences of this next step, I will choose happiness. So work with that energy and you will see that result. You will still see the same result, but it'll take longer if you're more cautious in stepping forward. We hope that that helps.
It really, really does. It's about staying in my joy, my happy place, and working hard with nature and to keep myself at peace even when the things get rough. To keep balanced in that, correct?
And not afraid to act when it needs to happen.
The acting is part that's hard for so many of us in your time. Be gentle with yourself, please.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hello, Nihal Collective. Much love and gratitude for coming to see us today.
And much love and gratitude for you sharing who you are also.
Thank you. Last night I had a private session with Aridif, and he told me that I have a connection to Nihal. And I have a very strong, I'm having a very strong physical reaction to your presence today. In my head, in my chest, in my whole body. I mean, it's actual physical pressure. And I was wondering if the fact that I have a connection to you is the reason for that?
Let me share something with you.
Thank you.
Dear friend.
Yes, my dear.
I am so aware of who you are. I remember when my life was very, very human and very in your now moment. I remember living my life, sitting in this room as you are, looking at myself from a future perspective just like you. It is hard to access one voice through this mechanism, but my excitement rings my voice through to share with you the version of you that you are and have become. One of millions speak, and the one that speaks is yourself. You are speaking to yourself through the most aligned version of your Nihal self. And that is why the reaction, knowing that you're able to look in the eye of the version of you that you become, is very intimidating and exciting at once. So to share that with yourself is very appropriate today. So as we share and as we communicate, we understand your desire to speak to yourself was important for you to be in today and to be around today. And letting that flush some of the anxieties within you about knowing where you're headed is the reason why you see yourself today.
Thank you. I'm very, very, very grateful for your presence with us.
And we are grateful for yours. Much love.
Hello.
Hello.
There's this dream that I have whenever I'm confused about something, or whenever I have something that I need to decide that's major for me relative to how I am. And I haven't had that dream in years. And I had it last night. And whenever I have something that makes me depressed, I've thought about suicide a lot. And every time it happens, there's always either someone that comes into my life or something that happens that makes me think I should delay this. I should wait until either this person is done with me or I'm done with this event. And it feels like the universe is telling me that I have some sort of importance. That there is something that I'm meant to do that is more than I realize now. And since you are
from what I understand, you are what humanity becomes. Do you know what that is, and if I'm still on the right path to achieve that?
First of all, we as a group wish to share one thing with you that we hope you find insightful. The experiences of the universe bringing you an opportunity to continue your pattern of life has already showed you and proven to you the point that you belong here. That without your presence, this world as you know it, as you experience it, would not be the world, because it would be missing one important part. So you have already assured yourself of that. A dream that usually comes after confusion coming last night. And you wonder, what could this be about? What is that experience about? You have been struggling with the idea of finding what's real for you, what is bullshit and what is correct, and finding the truth and the answers. It rips part of you one way and part of you the other. And that's okay. That's what humans do. That's what the Nihals learned to stop doing. So first, try not to rip yourself in half. Feel your emotions, but don't judge yourself for doing that. Process the emotions and explore them. Now, as for the great things that come for you, there are many versions of you. If you continue on the path, in the path that you are, with 3% variable on both sides of the vibrational spectrum, then you shall become a Nihal. And if you do, the part of you that becomes Nihal in this life becomes someone who is very interested in creating. We are trying to remember the title for you. Inventor. Inventor. That is a very close title to what you would be if you go to the Nihal version of yourself. Right now you're in alignment with that. Creating. Looking, exploring. What are you passionate to create?
Happiness, I guess.
Happiness is a byproduct of what some things that are physically or tangibly created. What physically do you think would be a gift to others?
I'm not sure.
You can look for that. You can explore in that, thinking and feeling about a new way to give others experiences. For your own self, for that own bout within you that struggles with the happiness, that struggles with the idea of what comes next, just know that that's normal. Know that that's going to be an experience that you can feel and deal with. Do you remember the part of yourself that now has a reason to continue going forward?
Yes.
Keep that at the front of your mind. Keep that in the front of your mind when you struggle. Right now, going forward is what's important. Working on what excites you, although those things are very difficult to find often. That is the goal. That is the way to keep moving forward. So continue working with anything that excites you. If you sit in the middle of a room and there is absolutely nothing that you can think that excites you, then do the thing that is least boring. Work with that. That's enough for now. And then the next moment, work with something that's the least boring. Fairly soon, you can feel a release of a great deal of your apathy. Apathy is only holding to you because you struggle with who you are. There's nothing that defines you more than just being yourself, just finding an excitement. And the question of who you are, that is the question all of you as humans will deal with for the rest of this life. Who am I? Even those who are accomplished in business, even those
whose spiritual practices help millions, even those who are rich beyond wild imagination. Every human in this life always still remains with one question at death: who am I? The more that you know about that question, the less pain in your heart you'll feel. Just know right now that you are loved. A great being brings that to you frequently. He tells you how loved you are. The future version of yourself is awaiting you. The future of yourself is fluidly in motion. Follow that excitement to the best of your ability. Remind yourself of the person, of the energy, of the thing that keeps you moving forward. Never giving up. Your own will for excitement, your own will to the path forward is what will get you through the hard times. I hope that this is so helpful for you.
It is. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Nihal.
Yes, hello.
First, my gratitude for guiding my son and helping all of us here today. We are very grateful, thankful to you.
I am grateful that you are here, just as grateful as you are that we are here.
Though there are many questions which excite me, I'm so excited to know how our future human society is, how we live, what we do we still struggle with all those things? But more important, I would ask this question, since you being a human, so you understand human emotions. So my question is, how to heal the emotional body and how to know that our emotional body need healing?
Feel your essence now. Close your eyes. All of you, close your eyes now. Try to intuit a space around you, 6 foot wide on every direction. Breathe. The first thing in your mind that comes forward as a problem in your life, say the word. Where in your body did you feel that? Where in the 6 foot field did you feel that?
In my heart, I feel I want to be me, who I am.
The emotional body gives you the opportunity to show you the heart is where your energy is holding resistance, is holding the key to unlocking that feeling of negativity that you feel sometimes. Sensing that 6 foot surrounding gives you the opportunity to complete your auric field. When you feel energy straight in front of you that aligns with your heart, it is always related to your heart. When you feel it to your left or right, in this area, it relates to your heart. When you feel it by the ground, in your legs and hips, it relates to your root chakra. You can always pinpoint your location of where the resistance comes from in your auric field, because your heart chakra doesn't just exist here, it exists there. So remind yourself to say the word of the one thing that you're experiencing the most difficulty in, and see where it registers in your field. Now you know it's the heart chakra. The next step, the next logical step is try to find out what's wrong with my heart. And we would say that's not the way to go. Find out what is right with your heart. Find out what your heart is doing correctly or what you're doing correctly with your heart. So now that you understand that the heart is the place of focus, what energy can you put behind it? What energy can you place into the heart knowing that you are already doing the right thing? I love people very easily. That's good.
I'm open to meeting new people. That's good. I've experienced creations with others and didn't judge them. That's good. You have already started pointing out all of the good things in your heart. This gives you the ability to open it even more. And what happens when you open something that's restricted? It becomes less restricted. And that's what you've done just by accepting the goodness that exists there in the first place. So when you feel that and when it's experienced as such, you've given yourself great relief. That great relief within the heart and the expansion and the knowing what's right and what you've done well, that gets you a much further way than looking at what's wrong. By knowing what's right, acknowledging what's right, feeling what's right, that clears it out. So continue doing that. I understand that the heart is the most precious part of the human experience. I understand that the more you become Nihal, the more important that becomes also. But everyone acknowledging their heart, acknowledging what is good within it, that gets you a very long way. And it helps the other parts of you. The heart doesn't just help your heart. Acknowledging your greatness of the heart doesn't just help your heart chakra. It doesn't help the heart plane in your auric field, the direction, either way in your heart chakra. It truly complements every other chakra. It truly helps open every other chakra. By acknowledging your heart, you heal all. But by acknowledging the specific chakras when you're in need, say, money is my worry, and I feel my root chakra and third chakra, working with those independently is also very helpful. Not just because you can't fully heal it by healing the heart, but you need to understand the underlying energy. By opening the third chakra, the first chakra, when it's in flux or when it's being resistant, that's the teaching tool. That's what allows you to have awareness, which allows you to see what your beliefs are and then allows you to change them. So finding all the answers, don't just go to the heart for everything. Go where it's needed, but don't be afraid to go to the heart. When you can't feel where in your auric field it is, don't be afraid to search your heart. And after that, then maybe the awareness will come into the other chakras. Use that tool and we hope it helps you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much too. We have shared with a great number of voices. We have shared with millions, and we have shared with thousands, and we have shared with few. And all of the voices together brings new perspective. The amount of people that are left to ask questions, then we will try to go through as quickly as possible.
It sounds like there's many voices of you coming forward, is this correct?
There are many combinations of voices, yes.
It's amazing. Sorry, it's very curious.
Hello, Nihal Collective. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for being a part of us.
I've put myself on a path of learning about love and of looking within myself and trying to erase portions of me. Maybe that's not the right word, but trying to be aware of things which prevent me from being loving, completely loving, of all people, all things, of everything. And I'm wondering if you can look within my energy and help me along my path of maybe showing me where I have some resistance and also where I will be in 2 years on this path.
Yes, and showing you, helping you work through the areas of resistance doesn't always help you. Showing you where you can be within the next 2 years can sometimes help you. In your experience specifically, you are already aware of where your strengths are. You are already aware of where you want to be. Can we be safe to say that? That
yes.
Knowledgeably you know this,
correct?
Yes, where I want to be is completely loving.
Of course, and your heart gives you that opportunity as you've shared it before with many beings. So let us tell you this, that when you're working with your heart, you don't have to plan for what's next. When you're working in your heart, you don't have to ask for assistance. When you're working truly with your heart and expanding, just the version of you that you are being is enough. Now, we understand you have a similar concept or question than someone previously who speaks to us, but you're a different person, and the answers come from different spring or source. So understand that when you're experiencing your heart and working on the heart by itself, that's enough for you. Your desire and the forward parts of you, understand that moving forward in love is important. It understands that the love that you've experienced is good enough. But it also needs to understand that just being aware of who you are and being aware of the parts of your life that seem rough, that will tell you enough about where the resistance lies in that moment. The resistance that comes into chakras doesn't last forever. It doesn't plague you for decades or years. It is only in that moment. And the more that all of you start to realize that a chakra blockage is only as permanent as your mind attached to where it is and the feelings and emotions behind that, the sooner you'll be able to release a great deal about that. The sooner you'll quit being afraid that your energy is restricted or that your chakras are blocked, and the more you can focus on the openness of it. So what we suggest to you, if your true desire is to find that flow of heart, continue what you're doing. Spread that love out further. Continue working on judgment. Continue working on self-judgment. And your answers are already within you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, very nice to meet you. I'd like to express my unconditional love and gratitude to all the Nihal. And
the pleasure goes both ways, my friend.
I wanted to ask about myself, what the experiences I'm having, metaphysical experiences, and the work I do on myself, and the resistance I'm feeling and where I'm going in the near future. If you could tell me something about that, I'd be very much appreciative.
When you speak of the near future, what parts do you speak of?
I don't know, 2 to 5 years.
2 to 5 years, where will I be? The question of all humans, yes?
I don't, well, it could, you could go into more detail further into the future if you want, but yeah.
We're happy to be where you want to be. And what we're going to do now is share a little something about your awareness. When you woke up this morning, what was the first thought that you brought forward? The conscious thought that's rememberable.
The first conscious thought I brought forward this morning, I can't remember.
What is the first thought you remember, even if it's hours after waking?
Just, I suppose, just getting up and having a cup of tea and sitting out in the nice fresh air near nature.
What a beautiful world this is.
Yeah.
What a beautiful
I
day it
think so.
is.
Yeah.
What a beautiful tea it is.
Yeah.
That presence of awareness of the moment gave you an opportunity to reflect. And right now, you're thinking to yourself, I'm not very sure of what I thought about. That's the beauty of the thought.
Yeah.
When you're able to be in a thoughtless energy, when you're able to sit with the energy in the way it is and enjoy, you have already overcome obstacles that all humans experience. Many humans sit with a chakra system blocked because every thought is obsessive and every thought looks in every direction, and oh my God, this is going to be a problem for today and I'm not aware how to defeat this problem. But then the relaxation occurred, the breath was taken, the experience itself was just the experience. Breathing, drinking, absorbing, that in itself taught you a lot. And it taught you how to be in the moment. That experience in itself will mold your future more than any resistance or energy that you have that doesn't tell you about what's happening now or doesn't tell you what could happen next. We see your energy, and you are a very wonderful person. You become a very wonderful collection of the Nihal, but there is also a part of you that worries about what can be next. And we understand that all humans experience that. Breathe. Be in that now moment and enjoy a lot like you have been. That's going to tell you more about the next coming years of your life than anything else will. We hope that this is helpful to you, friend.
Yeah, thanks, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We wish to share with you our own gratitude for all of you being together with us, and we share our hearts with you as you have shared your lives with us. Thank you all, and the communications will continue. Gotta go.
Thank you all for your support here on Patreon. We will keep this type of unseen content coming your way. We love you guys with all our heart. Rob and Kalina. Come see our website, etwhisperer.com.